Here's lesson 6.10, our last one. This one, I started it a little bit here, but basically I'll just go over what I did already. So each of these is partial variation. We can tell because none of them start at the origin. They all start above 0 on the y-axis. To calculate the rise and run, we can just pick 2 points, and then we can say, okay, from one point to another, how much did it go across? So it went from 0 to 1, that's 1. That's our run. Rise, it went from 1 to 3, so that's 2. So the rise is 2, the run is 1, equals 2. So our cost will be, or whatever, this is going to be, just write an equation. So we can use any variable really. So our C will equal 2 times whatever our N is, plus 1. That's our equation. Here, rise over run, okay? Again, we pick 2 points. Could really be any point, so I mean we want to pick 2 that cross nicely in the grid line, so we can pick the first one and we can pick this one here. So to get from here, it's 0 to 2, so we know our run is 2 and our rise is 1, so it's 1/2. Went up 1 and across 2, right? Don't pay attention to each unit, pay attention to down here. It went from here to here is 2, right? Even though it's 6 boxes or however many boxes, 4 boxes, it's 2 units. And then up 1. Possible equation here. Initial value is 4, rise over run is 2, and we could just use our variables here. Here, rise over run, so now we see it's going downwards. Okay, and again we can pick 2 points. Pick these, so it went down 4, across 1, so rise, or in this case it's falling, right? So -4 over 1, that's just going to be -4, and then our equation could be -4, initial value is 18, it's going down at a rate of -4. This is our equation, okay? So this would be for the warm-up, okay? Problem 1, Julie started a business making bracelets. The graph shows cost and revenue, okay? We have to label what's the revenue, what's the cost. So we have to read our question. So the costs include a fixed amount, okay? So we know there's going to be a fixed amount. So there's only one of them with a fixed amount, is this one. So you know that this line is going to be cost. And this one's going to be revenue. Okay? Using the graph, answer the question. Okay, we did the first question. What are the coordinates of the point of intersection? So they intersect right here. Each one of these looks like it's 2. So it's going to be, our y value is 32 and our x is 4. So it'll be 4, 32. What does this point represent? The break-even point. Because 1 is her cost. So this is how much money she's spending to basically buy what it takes to make the bracelets. And revenue is how much she's making. So at first, the costs outweigh the revenue, right? She's spending money, but at the same time, she's making it. And then when it gets to that point, that's where she's broken even. She spent the same amount as she's made. But as soon as it extends past that point, she's making money. Determine the equation of each line. So, I mean, for the cost, we can say that, you know what? Starts at 24. We know our initial value is 24. Now we have to say, okay, every time it goes across 1, it goes up 2. So 2n plus 24. Every time it goes across 1, it goes up 2. So that's 2. And then for the revenue, doesn't have an initial cost, so it's just going to be every time it goes across 1, it goes up 8. Okay, so for every, depending on however many she sells, you times it by 8. So if she sold 1, you times by 8. She sells 6, you times by 8. 8 times 6. When is she making money from selling bracelets? When she sells more than 4. She's making money. So when she sells more than 4, losing if she sells less than 4. Okay. Next page, our final page here. Problem 2, Mike wants to join a ski club for the winter season. He is considering 2 options. Okay, he gives 2 rates. There's a standard rate, which is $20 per day, or the frequent extreme is $40 registration plus $10 per day. So we have to write an equation for both. Standard rate will just be the cost is $20 per day. D here for days, and then is it direct or partial? It's direct because there's no initial cost, right? Write an equation for the frequent. It's going to be, the cost will be 10 times the amount of days plus 40. It's partial variation. We have to graph them both. So standard rate, 0 days, you pay 0. And then it goes up by 20 each day. Frequent starts at 40 and then increases by 10 each day. So now we have to graph it. For standard rate, 0, 0. After 1 day is 20. 2 days is 40. So I mean, we're just graphing this. We can plot the points, but in reality, we only need a few points to be able to graph it. Next one. Starts at 40. Each time goes up by 10. It's going to be right in the middle there. I mean, we can really just choose the nice numbers. 4 is at 80, which is right here. Then we can graph. So you can quickly graph it without really plotting every point, right? You just need like 2 points, 2, 3, 4 points, whatever you're comfortable with, but you really only need 2. Because then you just draw a straight line through and it's going to go where the points would go anyways. Okay, so now we examine the point of intersection. This is they cross at the point of intersection. What is the value of n at this point? Well, the value of n, well, it's after 4 days, so okay. So, I mean, the question wanted us to put for n for days, I put d. It doesn't really matter. But when it's saying n, it means for d, so 4 days. Look to the left of the point section. Which plan is cheaper? So, this one's standard. This is frequent. Which is cheaper? Standard. Why? How do we know? Because it's lower on the graph. This is cost, so when the line's lower, it costs less, so it's cheaper. Look at the right. Which plan is cheaper? It's the frequent. How do we know? Because the standard line is above it, and frequent is lower, so frequent costs less. Find the cost of both plans at the point of intersection. What does it mean? So it intersects at 4 days, and both $80. What does it mean? It means if you go for both, or you go for 4 days, both plans will cost the same amount. Okay, so that's 4.10.